All right, continuing our discussion right now on the tensions between Ukraine and Russia. What is the latest going on and what may happen in the next couple of days? Happy to have back on the show our international relations expert, Yvonne Davis, back with us this morning. For the first time in a while, Yvonne, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm always on when these things happen.
I can imagine. Of course, now the rest of the world is wondering, with regards to Russia, will they or won't they? But in some respects, you're saying the invasion has already started.
Well, there's the separatists, Russian-backed separatists, have already started shellings. And what they're raising is a bunch of false flags to try to trigger Ukraine to start the war by actually putting out there that it's Ukraine making the attacks. And so this is what happens usually before there is a potential invasion. Also what happens is evacuation. There's evacuations of families at Donetsk, and President Vladimir Putin had offered $128 for families to move to Russia. He said 10,000 rubles, but it's $128. So we are in a really serious situation, probably the serious in Europe in a very, very long time.
Let me just ask you a very general question that I think a lot of us are wondering. We're assuming Vladimir Putin here is a rational actor. He's weighing the pros and the cons of trying to take back all of Ukraine, and it looks like the calculations are that it is worth it to him. So why is it worth it to him? What is the downsides for him to go in there, and why is that just apparently not going to be enough?
He's doing calculated moves. Remember, he's playing a chess game. This is the chess move. He wants to checkmate NATO, the European ally, and the United States. He feels, as we know historically, that Ukraine is a part of Russia, is a part of the Soviet Union. It is his chance, which he views the current administration to be very weak at the moment. So he is now creating fires all around. And it's not just Ukraine he's looking at. He's looking at Moldova. He's looking at Bosnia. He's looking at Kosovo. There's other things he's looking at. But right now, he has up troops, not just 150,000, but some numbers are almost up to 200,000, 175 to 200,000 troops. So he is very serious about what he's going to do. So in his mind, it'll be calculated risk that he's taking right now because he feels he's in his strongest position to make the demands to do so.
Right. He's saying NATO's not going to stop me. Ukraine's not even a member of NATO anyways.
It's not. And here's the thing. Here's the test. The test is the U.S. and the West and the NATO alliances are not allowing Ukraine to come into NATO. And that becomes a problem. You're looking at Ukraine as he sees Ukraine as very weak. I don't know if you know this, Tim, but did you know Ukraine is the second poorest European country?
I did.
And yes, it's the second, had the lowest GDP last year. So you're talking, and it's also the largest European country in terms of 44 million. So you're talking about the largest country and one of the poorest. So in his mind, it's ripe for the picking, unfortunately, to say it this way.
3 weeks ago, I believe you had said he's going to wait till right after the Olympic Games concluded, which they just did. Does this mean things are really imminent now, within the next 24 to 48 hours?
Well, if the saving grace was what President Macron did to create this meeting, this potential meeting here. And so, of course, Macron is in an election year himself. So we'll see. We're hopeful. We should always look at diplomacy being on the table. But the somber tone of President Biden, Secretary Blinken, and even at the UN, our ambassador to the UN, it's a very serious situation right now. And he's moving about. He's moved troops all around Ukraine.
Real quick, we're almost out of time. What does President Biden do then in his best interest and in the U.S.'s best interest if this invasion picks up?
Well, right now, the only thing he can do is try to offer some sort of negotiation, but it's problematic because the way Putin set it up, he says Ukraine is not ever in NATO. And so in this situation, we need to look at how it's going to impact the United States, not just oil prices, but also agriculture. Ukraine actually exports 16% of corn to the world. And so the American farmers through the USDA has already upped its wheat production for the Emirates. And the other impact is in the Middle East. The Middle East is having a problem. What side should they pick? in this regard.
Right.
So it's very tense. It's not just what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. It is the world. This could have a devastating impact on our economies and the commodities that we have. Did you know that Russia had the second largest natural gas and the third largest crude oil in the world? So Russia has some things, but I believe the U.S. in its capabilities and where we have stand, we will be able to negotiate something, but it's very tense. This is probably the biggest test of foreign policy since Afghanistan for President Biden.
Okay, and we will probably talk a lot more about this if things continue on the trajectory that it looks like they are continuing on. So, Yvonne, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.